The Green Bay Packers have released veteran All-Pro corner Jaire Alexander, and the question on today's show is if the New York Giants should go out and sign him. We know the New York Giants had interest in Alexander prior to free agency. Have things changed? We'll talk about that. I'll just ask you off the top of today's video, should the Giants go out and sign Jaire Alexander? Go down in the comments, type S for sign, type P for pass, and let me know what you think. What's going on, everybody? You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. Appreciate everybody being here. The Packers and Jaire Alexander have been in works for a while on trying to get a contract done and trying to resolve all of the problems that they've had over the past couple of years. But today it ends in a clean break. They are terminating the contract of Alexander. He is a free agent, and he can sign wherever he wants. So the Giants go out and do it. He's 28 years old, still a good player, someone that I think could help the New York Giants as they really only have one legit CB on this team in the depth chart with Paulson Adebo and a couple of other question marks on this roster. And you can never have too many corners that are multi-time All-Pro guys. We do know the Giants had interest or were reportedly going to be interested in him. Jordan Renan said this prior to free agency being kicked off earlier this spring. I would keep an eye on Jaire Alexander if he happens to shake free. I expect the Giants to look into him. This was said prior to Paulson Adebo putting pen to paper to join this team. So maybe things have changed. Maybe not. I don't know. Let's start with this. When he plays, he is still good. In 2024, he had the 16th best PFF coverage grade. 2023, not so much, 42nd. I would take the 42nd best corner, though, on this team any day of the week. In 2022, he was the 6th best corner when it comes to coverage grade. 2020, the 2nd best, and 2021, the 19th best. So 4 out of the last 5 years, he's been a top 19 corner in the NFL, and every single year he's been a top 40, or last 5 years, he's been a top 42 corner. The Giants, they could benefit from that. But there's been some baggage along the way. He's had some problems in the locker room. He's been suspended for games. He's done things that I don't think the New York Giants would absolutely be in love with. And to be smart, tough, and dependable, you got to play. And the Packers haven't really been able to depend on Alexander due to the injuries. He played in just 7 games this past year as he was dealing with a knee injury. Played in just 7 games in 2023 due to a shoulder injury. Played in all 16 games, or I guess missed 1 game in 2022. And he played in just 4 games due to a shoulder. So when you play in 14 games the last 2 years, and you've played played 7 or less games 3 out of the last 4 years, that's going to be a question mark. When he plays, he's good, but he has not played all that much. In the 7 games he played this last year for Green Bay, solid. Allowed a completion percentage when targeted in coverage just 56% of the time. Allowed just 230 yards. Allowed 3 touchdowns, but he had 7 pass breakups and 2 interceptions. So the Giants go out and sign him. I don't know. I do know this, though. If the Giants do sign him or they make any moves this offseason, we are going to make a video about it. So subscribe, turn those notifications on so you never miss a thing. We're going to talk about why or why not the Giants should go out and sign Jaire Alexander, because I do think there are cases for both sides of that argument. By the end, I'm hoping I provide you guys with enough insight and info to where you can make your own decision. And I think I could be swayed either way. I'm definitely going to be swayed, though, to get a Jackson Dart jersey, and you can get yours today. Go to chatsports.com/dart. That's chatsports.com/dart. Get your jersey today. He's wearing number 6. They're sending them out. Get them now before they are sold out. Before we talk about why or why not the Giants should bring in Alexander, I think you got to look at what you got in the cupboard. So the Giants depth chart at the corner spot. You went out and signed Paulson Adebo. You gave him big-time money. He's your CB1 now, and hopefully your CB1 into the future, as he is just 25 years old. Drew Phillips, the 3rd-round pick last year, played well as a slot corner, and I think that he walks into camp as the clear-cut number one starting slot corner and hoping that he could build off of a solid rookie year heading into his sophomore season. Deonte Banks is heading into year 3 now with the New York Giants, was a first-round pick, has not lived up to expectations. After that, you got Cordell Flott entering his 4th year after being a 3rd-round pick. He's played some slot. He's played outside. And I think for your 4th corner, he is solid. But after that, Trey Hawkins is a question mark. Art Green is a question mark. Corey Black was just a 7th-round pick. It's not like you have a awesome depth of pro-ready guys. And the question you're going to have to ask yourself if you're Joe Shane or Brandon Brown or you're anybody that's going to make the decision on if you should bring in or not bring in Jaire Alexander is this. Do we want to bring in a guy that would easily be our second-best corner? Because that's what Alexander would be. He would walk in, be your second-best corner, and even maybe make the case that he is better than Paulson Adebo. Or do you let Deonte Banks, who was just a first-round pick, get the first crack of being CB2, a new role for him, not having to travel every single week, sideline to sideline, covering CB1s with Adebo now here? Does that help him reach the peak of his powers that you thought he had when you traded up for him in round 1? Because if you go out and you sign Alexander, Banks becomes your 3rd outside corner. And those guys don't typically get a lot of burn, and you're pretty much punting on the investment that you made. Banks has not been good as a Giant. He had some moments as a rookie year. In his rookie year, showed some signs, showed some life, but ultimately he did not play well. And he backdoored that with his 2nd year in the NFL actually being worse, in my opinion, than he was his rookie year. Wasn't great in year 2. And there were effort questions. There were teammate questions. There were maturity questions. So you wonder about that. So yeah, I'm interested in Alexander because he could be your best corner or he could be your second corner. But I also think from a team building perspective, is it better for the Giants long term to give Banks that job to prove or disprove whether he is worthy of that position? Deonte Banks, in my opinion, he holds the cards for the Giants to potentially be a top 5 defense in the NFL. It really is that cut and dry for me. You just look at some of the top defenders on this team. At defensive tackle, you got the best in the business in Dexter Lawrence. As Brian Burns says, we got a Dex, you don't. So you have Dexter Lawrence. Guy could be the DPOY this year. Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau are proven players in this league. Burns is an all-pro caliber player. Kayvon Thibodeau showed last year that he can contribute, and I think his career is ascending as he gets older. Bobby Okereke was a player in 2023 that looked like he could be a foundational piece in the middle of a defense. Paulson Adebo, he's a really good corner. Javon Holland, he's a really good safety. So you got a legit D-tackle. You got an all-pro caliber edge. On the flip side, you got Kayvon Thibodeau. That was a number 5 overall pick that looks to be getting better and better every year. Bobby Okereke is a really solid inside linebacker. And you got a good CB1 and you got a good safety. You also have young defenders that can make an impact this year. We could be talking about Abdul Carter as the rookie of the year on the defensive side of the ball, pushing close to double-digit sacks this year. You also got Jaire Alexander, who people talked about as the most ready to play day 2 defensive tackle in the NFL draft. Tyler Nubin was just a 2nd-round pick last year. He's going to emerge and play better this year. And you got Deonte Banks. So we just showed you, what was that, 12 guys, 10 guys that could be really good players in this league? Like, imagine if you add Jaire Alexander and you don't make the bet on Deonte Banks. You could be a top 5 defense. Or if Deonte Banks just plays up to who you thought he was going to be when he traded up for him. What's better for the Giants? To sign Jaire Alexander right now, or see if Deonte Banks in year 3, moving from CB1 to CB2, could develop into what you thought he would be when you traded up for him in round 1. Obviously, signing Jaire Alexander right now makes the Giants' cornerback room better. But we know there's more to being an NFL GM and building a roster and a team than just doing what is better or best for the team right now. But with a GM and a head coach in Joe Shane and Brian Dable that could be on the hot seat, they could be doing whatever it takes to add more wins to the win column. So I don't know. I think if you're a head coach and GM on a hot seat, you should be trying to add better players at every single position. But if you have the security to know you're here, you'd like to see if there's any return on investment that you made in Deonte Banks when you drafted him in round 1. I don't know if even Jaire Alexander would want to be here. I'm sure at 28 years old, he sees the writing on the wall, and maybe he wants to compete for the Super Bowl. And as much as I love this team and as much Kool-Aid as I drink, I don't know if the Giants are ready for that. There are other free agent corners you could look at if Alexander doesn't want to be here or if he wants too much money. I think the Giants could benefit from adding another veteran corner, but I think they could benefit from one that maybe is more content with not being a full-time down-in, down-out player. Stephon Gilmore doesn't really fit that bill for me. Asante Samuel Jr., I know he's had some injury issues, but he's still young, and with proper development and coaching, I think that he could be better than what he's been. Mike Hilton's a veteran in this league. Rasul Douglas has showed that he could be good in different spots. Kendall Fuller is all right. Jack Jones, not really interested in him. James Bradbury, not really interested in him. Thanks for holding in the Super Bowl. And then the last two on this list, not that interested as well. Look, I think this cornerback depth chart is going to produce a little bit better than we anticipate, but I'm also kind of convincing myself that a guy like Deonte Banks in year 3 is going to be able to be better because we need that, and I'm hoping that, and I want it. If you got 2 good corners and you got all the players we've talked about and you play a sound brand of football, which this team is capable of, I do think this Giants defense could be top tier in the NFL. I know they will be if they add Jaire Alexander. Grade the Giants CB depth chart. A, B, C, D, or F. Sound off for me down below. Make sure you are following me on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram @MarshallGreen_. Give me a follow over there, and let's go Giants.